of this book, Beyond Global Warming, reflects our strong belief that the greatest value of climate models is not just their utility for making predictions, but also their ability to provide a deeper understanding of how the climate system works. Starting from the pioneering study conducted by Arrhenius more than 100 years ago, this book presents a history of the use of models in studies of climate change. Based upon the analysis of many numerical experiments performed with a hierarchy of climate models of increasing complexity, we seek to elucidate the basic physical processes that control not only global warming, but also the changes in climate of the geologic past. It is not our intention, however, to present a comprehensive survey of the literature on climate dynamics and climate change. Instead, we would like to focus on studies in which Manabe was a participant and those that influenced his thinking. We hope to describe the scientific journey that allowed him to develop a better understanding of the processes that underlie climate change. He was accompanied for parts of this journey by Broccoli, who was likewise influenced and informed by the studies described in this book. This book has evolved from the lecture notes of a graduate course that Manabe taught in the program in Atmospheric and Oceanic Sciences at Princeton University. The book may be useful as a reference text for graduate and advanced undergraduate courses in climate dynamics and climate change, but also in other disciplines that involve the environment, ecology, energy, water resources, and agriculture. But most of all, we hope that this book will be useful for those who are curious about how and why the climate has changed in the past and how it will change in the future. Chapter 1. Introduction. The global surface temperature has increased gradually since the turn of the 20th century. This is evident in Figure 1.1 in the bonus material, which shows the time series of the global mean surface temperature anomaly relative to a 1961 through 90 baseline since the middle of the 19th century. Although the temperature fluctuates over interannual, decadal, and interdecadal timescales, it has increased gradually during the past 100 years, with a relatively large increase during the past several decades. For the period prior to the middle of the 19th century, many attempts have been made to reconstruct the large-scale trends of surface temperature from natural archives of climate-related proxies, using data sets that include more than 1,000 tree ring, ice core, coral, sediment, and other assorted proxy records from ocean and land throughout the globe. As one example of such efforts, Figure 1.2 depicts the time series of Northern Hemisphere mean surface temperature reconstructed by Mann et al. For the past 1,500 years. According to this reconstruction, surface temperature was relatively low between 1450 and 1700, in other words, the Little Ice Age, but was relatively high prior to 1100, during the medieval climate anomaly. These results suggest, however, that the warmth of the past half-century is quite unusual during at least the past 1,500 years. As stated in the fifth assessment report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, it is extremely likely that human influence has been the dominant cause of the observed warming since the mid-20th century. The report further concludes that a majority of the observed warming can be attributed to the anthropogenic increase in the concentrations of greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. According to Figure 1.3, which shows the temporal variation in carbon dioxide, CO2, concentration over the past 1,200 years, the level of atmospheric CO2 fluctuated by around 280 ppmv, parts per million by volume, until the end of the 18th century, when it began to increase gradually. This increase